All right, good morning. Eric Arnold here in the politics barn. It is Friday morning, December 4th, probably about 9:45 in the morning. I guess one of the reasons the politics barn exists is when I see a story that is out there on the internet, and when I say story, a series of allegations and or facts that is not being reported by the legacy media. And you know who I'm talking about: the Washington Post, the CNN, NBC, the New York Times, Fox News even. Because that's how news works, I guess, is that if a tree falls in a forest and no one's there to hear it or report it, did it really fall? I report back, well, basically, I got started doing this when the Hunter Biden laptop emerged, which, if you listen to CNN, still doesn't exist. And that's one of the reasons why Joe Biden at the moment has an excellent chance of being inaugurated president, is because they hid the story. Facebook, Twitter, all these people, giant corporations, and the people that run them have decided that certain stories, certain facts, are simply not what they want to talk about. So here I am in the barn, and when I see something that say that's important, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to bring that to you, and here's something I saw last night that I thought was important. If you haven't seen it, there is a video now. Have you ever heard that saying, pictures worth 1,000 words? There is a video of the counting room, for lack of a better word, from Fulton County, Georgia, the night of the election, and I think it presents some pretty suspicious activity on behalf of the people doing the counting. This information emerged yesterday, I believe yesterday, at a hearing in the Georgia State Senate. The best I can figure, this video, where'd this video come from? It looks like it's some kind of a security video. The counting room is apparently at State Farm Arena in Fulton County, which the best I could tell is just your basic hockey/basketball arena. I guess they go there just because they have some pretty big open spaces there where they can set up their hundreds and hundreds of boxes and their rows and rows of banquet tables where they have people seated, spreading all these tens of thousands of pieces of paper out where they can bring in their big counting machines and do all this work in one big area. So I guess that's why they're set up there in this, looks like a concourse possibly, or a giant conference. Well, not a conference room, that's probably the wrong words. Anyway, I'll link to the video. You watch it for yourselves and you can make out what you can out of it. But in this video, which apparently surfaced, I think Wednesday, the 2nd of December. And it's still unclear to me where the video came from. I think it was either leaked to somebody on the Trump team or the right-wing media, or it was presented. There's a rumor floating around that Lynn Wood, the attorney, may have gotten it through discovery in one of his lawsuits. Or perhaps somebody else got their hands on it through an open records request from the state of Georgia. It was referenced in the state Senate hearing. One of the senators made a mention of, we asked for this information a long time ago, and we just got it. It took us a month to get this video. So, that leads me to believe, that sort of thing happens all the time, where a senator, whether it be in a state senate or the United States Senate, they ask for information from the executive agencies. Hey, I'd like to see all the information you got on this. And the executive agencies just go, they ignore them. That happens all the time. That just happens all the time. Because, yeah, when you think about it, the Congress and the executive branch are co-equal branches of government. They're supposed to be. They're really not anymore. The executive branch is much more important than the Congress. So basically then when the Congress goes to the executive branch and says, hey, we want to see information, what happens to the executive branch when they go, we're not showing you anything? Nothing. And they damn well know it. So that's why if they choose not, if the FBI chooses not to present information to the state Senate Oversight Committee, nothing happens. Nothing has happened. Nothing will happen. And they damn well know it. So that's just an example of why this video is just coming out now, a month after the election. So at any rate, this is a closed caption video of the counting room. So the presentation to the Senate by a lawyer affiliated with the Trump legal team, basically as she lays it out, is inside the counting room, there are rows and rows and rows of tables, counting machines, workers, what have you. Way over in the corner, there's a bunch of lights, cameras, and I guess a handful of observers. Again, this is what happens in a Democrat county when a Republican observer shows up and wants to observe the process as they're legally allowed to do. Observation apparently is defined in a Democrat county that you go over there in the corner and you get to stay, you can see what's going on way across the room. You can see what's going on way across the room. You're observing. Well, that's not, I can't imagine that is what the legislature imagined when they wrote the rule. I mean, that's nonsense. You can't observe anything. If you actually want to observe the process, you have to be sitting right next to the people doing the counting. If not, that's not observation. But, again, this is, we're in a post-constitutional era right now. And the law is whatever some judge makes it up to be. The legislature, they have to write the law so specifically to define their intent. And then when they don't, some judge makes it up for them. And even when they do write the law so specifically to spell out their intent, some judges still make it up for them. That's happening here in Pennsylvania. It says, well, if the ballot doesn't show up here by 8 p.m. on election night, it's no good. The state Supreme Court here in Pennsylvania said, well, now, come on, that's not what that really means. And even if it does, we don't care. We're going to make our own law. That's what you would call an activist judge, which is about the worst thing you could possibly be. You want to be a legislator, judges, then run for the legislature. You don't get to make up the law just because you sit on a bench. So at any rate, we're back to the counting room. So the observers, the media, way over there in the corner. So it stays this way throughout the day, 8 a.m. This video has got to be, 14 hours long maybe. It shows and the lawyer for the Trump team, she even told the Senate, they said, we haven't had time to look at this really carefully. I mean, we fast forwarded through a lot of it. We just got this, i.e. the hearing's taking place yesterday, December 3rd. They just got the video, I believe, on the 2nd of December. So they've had just, literally hours to review it. So they're telling them what they think's on it. They're showing them what they think is on it. It shows then at 10 o'clock, roughly speaking, 10 p.m., one of the election counters, presumably a supervisor, goes over to the media and the Republican poll observers and anyone else that's over there in that roped off area. They said, you can go home. We're done for the night. We're not going to count anymore. We're closing up. Okay, so they all leave. The video shows, them taking down the cameras and putting the stuff away. They all leave. They are covering up tables. They're covering up machines. It looks like we're closing up shop. Well, once they're all gone, there's still about 4 to 6 people left in the room. And then at that point, they bring out bins, black bins, from under these banquet tables that have tablecloths on them. They wheel them out, and they open them up, and they take what looks to me like paper out of them and stick them onto a desk. Now, it looked to me to be something similar to this. You know, it's big. The word being thrown around in the media right now is suitcase. This is what it looked like to me. Something like this. You know, there are no ballots in here. There's just crap. I don't think there are any ballots, and I know if there are, I doubt they're from Georgia. But it looks like something like that. You know, it wasn't colored like that. They're black. In the video, the bins, they look black. You know, it's a sizable container. It's not, you know, a little suitcase. It's a sizable container. And they certainly looked like they had paper in it. Things are taken out from what I saw. Things are taken out of the bin, put on the table. Now, the Republican lawyer, she is alleging what's in there are ballots. She's saying you can see them wheeling them out from underneath the table, and they're taking ballots out, and they're scanning them through the machines, and there's no observers there. And she said that our observers were told to go home, that they were done for the night. That wasn't true, obviously, because they're running them through the machines. So I think this is significant. I think this is highly significant. Now, the counter story to this right now, there is hardly any counter story. A state senator from the 42nd district of Georgia, that's DeKalb, I think they pronounce it DeKalb, even though it's spelled DeKalb. I think they pronounce it DeKalb County. That is the county adjacent to Fulton County. Elena Parent, she spoke at the hearing. I mean, I guess all the state senators have an opportunity to speak. I heard her speak. She seemed to be the one that gave the most clear or impassioned defense of the election process. She really didn't answer for what went on in that video. I mean, she simply gave just a kind of a blanket overview to, well, you know, a lot of the things we heard here, the observers are pitching this bitch or complaining about that, and they really don't understand the process. You know, something they're looking at that looks suspicious is perfectly normal and perfectly legal, and she could have a point. In other words, apparently, if they get a vote in from overseas, I guess the process in Georgia is that rather than me send you an official Georgia ballot all the way from Georgia to Timbuktu, where you're stationed overseas, they let you, serviceman stationed in Timbuktu, go to your printer and print a ballot out and fill it out and mail it in, and then, you know, I got my phony baloney ballot here from private, what's his name, in Timbuktu. I take phony baloney ballot out. I verify all his information on the outside. Okay, company C, blah, 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 Fort, whatever the hell, and blah, 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 and Timbuktu, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think he's who he says he is. I take phony baloney ballot, which cannot be run through the machine. I have to then transcribe phony baloney ballot onto a real ballot, you know, and you got to trust me that I, as an employee of the state of Georgia, will do so accurately and will not lie or cheat, and I will accurately transcribe what private, what's his name, has on his ballot to this ballot. And I'm assuming that the actual ballot he filled out is in an official record somewhere, that they don't burn it, trash it, throw it away. I assume they keep that as an official record. Who knows what they really do? So that would be an example of, you know, if I was an observer looking at that and I don't know the process and I see that dude filling out a ballot, I might say, that's suspicious. So this is a point that the state senator, the Democrat state senator is making, that perfectly innocent things that are, according to the law, could be misconstrued as suspicious. But she really didn't have an answer for, the ballots under the table. That, it's like, is that where you keep them? Like the lawyer said. Is this your normal process? I mean, what's the chain of custody? When did that box of ballots, when did that get put under the table with the tablecloth? When was it there? The way I see this is, this demands some kind of investigation with an agency that has badges and guns. Somebody's got to investigate this. And if they don't, well, then the fix is in. In fact, the fix is in if something hasn't happened by, I'd say midnight tonight. In other words, if you don't see it leak out into the media somewhere within the next 48 hours that there is a criminal investigation going on in Fulton County, then the fix is in. The Republican governor down there in Georgia, what's this guy doing? You got to do something, man. I mean, are you just sitting on your ass? The Secretary of State in Georgia isn't finding anything because he doesn't want to find anything. He could give a damn who wins, which is really the way it's supposed to be. That guy shouldn't have a dog in the fight. But what he should be doing is investigating credible allegations of fraud, malfeasance, and this is damn well one of them. It wouldn't take long. It wouldn't take long. Round up your witnesses who were in that counting room, the workers, the press, the observers. Were you told to go home? What specifically was told to you? The one story, I guess, that the Democrats, the media, if, their typical response to this sort of thing is simply ignore it. The one thing I guess they are pointing to is some off-the-wall blog-looking story written by Lead Stories, which frankly looked about as, if I wrote a blog and said, thoughts from the barn, it'd be about that credible, I guess. So their story is they have quotes from Frances Watson, who is apparently the chief investigator of the Secretary of State. And she was saying, well, no, this is all normal procedure. In fact, those boxes that were brought out from under the table were empty. And then the ballots were already on the table. No. That did not happen. You can see clearly in the video, when those boxes are brought out from under the table, they are not empty. They have ballots in them, and ballots are taken out of the bin and put on the table. That you can see. So I don't even know if Ms. Watson even viewed the video, or if she's just, being asked for a quote over the phone, and her pat standard answer is, no, nothing's wrong with this election. Come on, everything's fine. I mean, we haven't looked at all and we haven't found anything. So there's no evidence whatsoever of anything going wrong. We haven't looked and there isn't anything. So there you have it. So I found their defense completely implausible, unconvincing. There needs to be, like I said, serious questions asked by people with guns and badges. Put these people under oath. I want to hear it from the person who said, hey, go home. Did you tell everybody to go home? Yes or no? Because in that, Lead Stories thing, their thing is, we didn't tell them to go home. They just left on their own. We didn't tell them anything. We didn't say anything to them. They don't have to be here. We can do our work without them being here. If they're not here, we can still work. They left on their own. We didn't tell them anything. Yeah, okay. Well, what did the press leave for then? Why'd they leave? So again, put them under oath. What did you tell them? Who told them? What is your job responsibilities? What were those ballots under the table? What batches were they specifically? Where are those batches now? What was the chain of custody of those ballots? What precincts were they from? These are all questions you would be asking these people. Uh, and I'm sure you would find some of the information you're getting would be suspicious, wouldn't match, doesn't make sense. Um, you know, it looks incredibly suspicious to me. Oh, by the way, then this was right around the time when, you know, all of a sudden the Trump lead in Fulton County, or I should say in the overall state of Georgia, you know, this is where Trump is like, whoop, you know, his lead is just disappearing like ice in a hot summer day, just whoosh, where the ballots are coming in. You know, it's alleged that they're coming in 98-2 for Biden. Well, that would make sense if there were a bunch of phony baloney ballots being shoved into machines there around that area of time when nobody's watching them. From this allegedly took place from around 10 p.m. to when they left around 1 p.m. So, I put them under oath. I want to see an investigation. I mean, I saw the governor of Georgia now is kind of like, well, I guess we should have a signature audit, which he should have asked for 2 weeks ago. So now he's saying they should have a signature audit, but I don't know if he's actually forcing that to happen. According to the Democrat state senator, she's confident that for every envelope that came in, and the envelope, remember, that's where it has the specific voter identification and his signature, they got a matching ballot. In other words, 1 million envelopes came in and we got 1 million votes. We don't have 1.1 million votes and a million envelopes. We got 1 million and 1 million. Okay, all right. And they very well could at this point. I mean, they've had enough time to certainly, if you got a phony baloney vote and you shove it through the machine, you know, now you get all the time in the world to go back and link that vote to someone on the books who didn't vote. All right, well, it doesn't look like Joe Schmidt here from 123 Mockingbird Lane voted. Doesn't look like he votes very often. Well, he voted in this election, and guess who he voted for? Joe Biden. So that's easy enough. So another story I saw, this is just an aside, I guess in Arizona, in one of the lawsuits, they actually have now actually looked at some of these ballots themselves. They looked at the duplicate ballots. Apparently, what that means is I have a sheet of paper, a ballot, and it will not run through the machine because it has a tear in it, or maybe it's got a coffee stain on it or some damn thing. So these are all ones that got jammed or the machine wouldn't take. So now I got them sitting here. So now I got to, again, I think this is part of the process where I take this broken, won't run through the machine ballot, and I transcribe it onto another ballot, and then I run it through, and then it counts the vote. And again, I, as a member of a loyal, fine, upstanding citizen to work for Maricopa County of Arizona, I pledge to do this accurately, truthfully, and to the best of my ability. Well, they checked 100 of these, and they found one where the vote was for Trump, and they had, instead of it going through, it was Biden. It's like, wait a minute now. You know, on my coffee-stained ballot, it says Trump, and then the one that they fill out clean so it goes through the machine, it says Biden. Oh, okay. I mean, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe it was a long day. Maybe you retired. All right. But then on another one, again, on my coffee-stained ballot here that won't run through the machine, it said Trump. On the other machine that they ran through there, someone wrote in a write-in candidate, which cancels the vote because, you know, it says Trump at the top and then at the bottom it has a write-in vote. Now, what is that? What is that? Someone, I think, did that willfully, on purpose, with the sole point of ruining those votes for Trump. And in one case, switching it over to Biden. Again, very simple. If I'm the chief of the FBI office in Phoenix, I've got people out there to the Maricopa County Election Board, and I'm asking questions. This is an official investigation. I want to know answers. Who did this? Who was in the room? Who handled these ballots? What was the chain of custody? On what date did you do this? Where did it go after that? Where are the rest of the ballots that were handled by these individuals? Put these people under oath. I want to hear some goddamn answers. Again, if you don't hear this in the next 48 hours, the fix is in. The fix is in. I've always thought the fix was in. No matter what kind of evidence is produced. I saw an article, or an article, an opinion, whatever. I think it was in the American Thinker. I forget who wrote it. They called this theft, fraud, whatever you want to call it, too big to fail. In other words, it's so big, it's so unbelievable, it's so in your face, it's so, if you called everybody out that's involved in it, you'd probably end up with a civil war. So we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to let it all stand. I don't think they're too far off from that. I really don't think we're too far off from that. Just the whole unwillingness of, where the hell is Bill Barr during all this? He's the damn Justice Department head. What's he doing? I mean, I get it that I'm sure he doesn't like Trump all that much, but he's Mr. Good Government, and he's just sitting on his thumbs. What's going on down in Georgia? They wheeled this shit out from under a table. We know this from a video that's been hidden for view for a month that we probably were never supposed to see. And what exactly happened there? I want to know. I don't think I'm going to know, but I want to know, damn it. So that's what I got for you here in the Politics Barn on Friday morning. You should look into this. You should be interested in this. This is actionable. This is something that is definitely suspicious as hell. And I'm hoping that this catches a little traction. What's happening, I think, is that just listening to the tenor of some of the state senators, I didn't listen to the whole 6.5 hour hearing. I don't have that kind of time. Who does? But just the snippets, the 30 to 45 minutes I did listen to, I get the impression that these guys are getting blown the hell up down there in Georgia and possibly everywhere else. Again, my guy, my state representative here in the state of Pennsylvania, he's on a milk carton. I haven't seen him. I haven't heard from him. I haven't seen his name mentioned in the newspaper. The newspaper, of course, they don't want to talk about anything like this. But I get the impression that these guys are under some extreme pressure at the moment. Hey, keep it up. Good for you. Keep it up. Burn these guys, because they should be doing their damn jobs. I don't necessarily want them to hold a session and flip the vote, but I do want them to investigate this stuff. I want some people with guns and badges. Like I said, way back in a video, I don't know when. My solution was the Trump people get to go in and they get to count the votes in these suspicious Biden areas. The Biden people, they get to go count the votes in suspicious Trump areas or any areas they want. Have at it. You can count them in all the counties and all the suspect states. If you had got going when I said, it'd be done by now. But, of course, we don't want to do that. Rather than actually figure out what happened here, it's so much easier just to say, nothing happened here. We haven't looked and we haven't found any evidence. There's no evidence. We haven't looked and we don't intend to look. So it's exasperating. It really is. And this is never going to end, which I think in a way is kind of, be careful what you wish for, Democrats, where you guys, you want the power. You're going to find out what Trump knows. He knows now. It's like, no one's going to respect you. No one's going to listen to you. You can force us to do things at the point of a gun, but that's about it. We're just going to ignore you when we can because you have no moral authority. You didn't win the election. And a lot of us know that. So there you have it. That's what I think here on Friday morning. Let me get this up before it's obsolete. News moves fast in the United States of America these days. Appreciate everybody being here. Last announcement, we are moving the Politics Barn channel to Rumble at some point, which means I've thought about moving it to Rumble. I haven't actually done anything to move it to Rumble, but we are moving to Rumble so I can speak freely about things that are censored on YouTube. And, you know, I think ultimately that is where, you know, we're on the ground floor anyway in the Politics Barn. To grow the channel, I think we have to go somewhere where freedom of expression is allowed and encouraged. If Rumble's not where we should be, let me know. Put it in the comments if you got a better alternative. Again, I've done just about no research on it. All I know is YouTube ain't the place to be to talk politics. Fine for talking sports. I appreciate YouTube. I want to be partners with them in my sports barn. But Politics Barn, they got a different agenda. That's fine. They're a private company. They can do whatever they want. I'll go somewhere else. So thanks. Appreciate you for being here, and we'll speak again.